Hi, welcome to another Headshot Wargaming videos. In this video we're going to look at the new 2-player starter set for Firestorm Armada from Spartan Games. So Spartan Games have produced a series of games that all use very similar mechanics, something known as the exploding dice mechanic, and we'll go on to talk about that later on. But they produce three main core systems. There's Firestorm Armada, which is what we're going to look at now, which is a space fleet battle game. There's Dystopian Wars, which is a sort of steampunk ship-based maritime game, although they also do land forces for it as well. And then there's Uncharted Seas, which is a more traditional sort of elves, dwarves, fantasy-based ship combat game. So the game we're going to be looking at now is Firestorm Armada 2.0. So we're in the second iteration of the rules. They've spent a lot of time tweaking the points costs and the model values and the performance of all the factions to rebalance the rules, and also simplified some of the rules and added to them for the 2.0 rule set. So what they've also done is taken the opportunity to bring out a new range of models for the 2.0 set. So the factions are the same, but they've reintroduced new ships into those ranges. Now, what they've also done to help retailers stock the game is they've decided to keep the core range in box sets. So you've got the 2-player starter, which we're looking at now. Then for each of the factions, they're also what they call a patrol fleet box, which is basically a starter set for the faction, so it'll include a battleship, some cruisers, and some frigates. But then when they come to expand the range, they're also going to do that in box sets. So you'll get carrier fleet sets, which include the carrier ship and some of the flight token templates you can see here. You'll also get cruiser sets that will maybe include like a cruiser and some frigates. And by bringing them out in box sets, it means it's easier for retailers to carry because there's less blisters, less stock to carry, which means you should be able to get more games because more people will pick up Firestorm and play it. You'll still be able to get individual models directly from Spartan or from some of the retailers that choose to stock those. So what I'm showing on the screen at the moment is actually the models you get in the 2-player starter. So there's two factions, the Terran Alliance, which is this side over here, and the Dendrenzi Federation over here. Now the Terran Alliance also comes with this research station, which is kind of like a scenery model, a scenario model in the back there. Both the fleets are fairly balanced. You'll notice that the Dendrenzi have one less frigate than the Terran Federation, and I assume that's just down to points costs. The Terran Federation also have a lot more template tokens for the fighters and bombers. So what else do you get in the box? So to show you the box itself, this is what you're going to get if you buy it. So you get a big, very heavy box, so the postage won't be cheap on this one. This one's been provided by Valiant Wargames for us to review, so you'll find a link to their website down below, and they're selling the full range of the starters and the new patrol fleet box sets at the moment at a reasonably good price. So what else do you get in the box other than the models? Well, you get the full hardback rulebook. So this is the 2.0 rulebook. So unlike a lot of starter boxes, you're actually getting a full hardback rulebook, not a cut down mini A5 version. It's the full set of rules. You get a little mini scenario booklet which has some scenarios in it to help you get into the game. So the scenarios start off with sort of smaller battles. So the first one's got quite a few, just using frigates. And the idea being that as you work your way through the various scenarios, you'll get more and more advanced rules and larger fleets. So it's a good way to introduce people to the game. You get a couple of sheets of tokens that just pop out, quite light card but suitable, some templates and some trackers, and you get a couple of sheets of asteroids. Now obviously you can make your own paper mache or polystyrene balls or whatever, but at least you can start playing straight away using the ones that are provided. You also get dice. You get a large bag of red dice. Now I mentioned earlier something called the exploding dice mechanic. So a lot of the Spartan game systems use this, and what it basically means is anytime you roll a 6, you get to re-roll that dice. If you roll a 6 on that dice, you get to re-roll again, and you keep basically accumulating those extra dice from the exploding 6 results, and that's why they give you a fairly large number of d6s. You also get a pack of smaller d6s. Now these fit into the little spaces that you can see here on the fighter bomber templates, and they're just used to track the stats of those models. You get a couple of packs of the tactical cards, and that's basically it, but it's a great set. So let's have a look at some of the models. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to talk about a couple of the models, just to give you some assembly tips, where I've had a few, had to spend a little bit of time looking at some of the models to make sure they're assembled correctly. And then we're going to go on and we'll put the models up one at a time on the 360-degree rotating stand, and it will give you a really good close-up look of some of the detail on the models. So the bigger models is this one here. This is one of the battleships for the Dendrezi. I'll just check the name for you. This is the Praetorian class battleship for the Dendrezi. Now, the only thing I want to point out here was you'll find that this little gun tray here comes separately, and you'll find a smaller little gun tray, about half the size there, and that actually goes in here. That threw me for a little while. You'll also need to clean out a little bit of flash in there. The side blocks are labelled right and left, so they're fairly easy to work out where they go. So that's one quirk there. Oh, on the underside, you'll notice that the pegs. So the pegs that and this is assuming I've got it correct, obviously. The Dendrezi have these larger pegs for the battleships and the cruisers. Now you need to put them so they're closer together, so the holes match up. And it doesn't mean you get a little bit of an overhang. But don't worry about that. And just to show you the difference between the two types of pegs, that's the Dendrezi ones, and that's the Terran Alliance ones. I'll just take the peg out and give you a close-up. Show you the difference between the two. Now the other model I want to talk a little bit about is the research station. Now be very, very careful when you prizing out the acrylic pieces. It comes in an acrylic sheet and it's quite easy to snap off, so just take a little bit of time and be careful when you're prizing out the legs. Now what you'll find is you will get 7 legs, long legs like this, let's call them extended legs, and 3 collapsed legs where the legs actually it's actually the same leg model, but this one basically looks like it's clawed round effectively. Now because you've actually got an uneven number, the way they've assembled the studio model apparently is at the back side they'll have 1 partially open leg and 1 fully open leg. Now I didn't like that lack of symmetry, so I've left the back legs off and just had 3 fully extended legs and 2 partially closed legs at the front, and just left the ones at the rear off. So just that tip, if you're opening it up and trying to work out how it goes together, because you've got 7 long and 3 short, it's intentional apparently, and the idea is at the back you can have 1 of each to represent different closing stages of the frame, but I've decided to do it this way. The rest of it went together reasonably straightforwardly. This is the battleship for the Terran Alliance. It's a fairly solid model. These little pieces come separately. The side blocks come separately. But if you pay attention to the artwork on the model, you shouldn't have any problem assembling these ones. So what we're going to do now is, as I say, we're going to switch to some rotational views to give you guys a close-up of some of the models.